There is a moment, just before an engine fires to life, when silence hangs heavy. A breath before motion. A heartbeat before power. Within factories stretching across Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, and beyond, that moment happens thousands of times each day. Pistons align, crankshafts settle, turbochargers wait to spin. The future of American trucks and sport utility vehicles stands coiled beneath sheets of steel and aluminium. In the year 2025, Ram and Jeep find themselves at a crossroads of heritage and transformation. The raw thunder of American V8 engines still echoes through the halls of manufacturing plants. Yet it now competes with the rising whistle of turbocharged inline 6 horsepower and the silent electric surge of hybrid drivetrains. This is not simply about new engines. This is about identity. What does power mean in the modern era? Is performance defined by displacement or precision? And how does a century-old culture of muscle adapt to a world ruled by efficiency, electrification, and emissions targets? On Gear Pulse Insight, we journey beneath the metal skins of the 2025 Ram and Jeep lineup to uncover the untold story of American engine production, a story of engineering rebirth, a clash between tradition and technology, a survival narrative written in oil, software, and steel. This is what is really happening under the hood. For decades, American trucks were forged on a single principle: displacement is dominance. The larger the engine, the louder the authority. Big cylinders, thick crankshafts, deep throats of exhaust. Horsepower delivered through sheer mechanical mass. Ram and Jeep were born into this era. The Pentastar VI, a 3.6-liter naturally aspirated V6, became the backbone of Stellantis North America. Reliable, affordable, easy to maintain. It powered everything from Ram 1500 pickups to Jeep Wranglers and Gladiators. Even as emission rules tightened and fuel economy standards increased, the Pentastar soldiered forward, refined, but largely unchanged in character. Its production line at the Trenton Engine Complex in Michigan became one of the most consistent sources of internal combustion engines in the United States. Row after row of aluminium blocks moved through robotic machining cells. Cylinder bores measured to near-perfect tolerance. Valve seats cut with diamond precision. Cylinder heads bolted into place. Thousands of American workers ensured the engines left with microscopic reliability standards. Reliability that owners only recognize years later when engines continue firing after hundreds of thousands of miles. Then there were the legends. V8 engines constructed at the enormous Saltillo facility across the southern border, feeding the Jeep Wrangler 392 and several larger Ram and Jeep performance vehicles. 6.4 liters of traditional muscle, naturally aspirated breathing. 8 pistons moving with brutal rhythm. These engines represented defiance as much as engineering. In a world turning electric, Stellantis kept the V8 alive for brand loyalty and heritage dominance. It was not an efficient decision. It was an emotional one. Yet emotion cannot outrun mathematics forever. By the dawn of 2025, something had to change. When leadership at Stellantis unveiled the Hurricane engine family, it marked the most dramatic philosophical shift in Ram and Jeep powertrain history. The Hurricane is not a compromise engine. It is not a softened alternative. It is a declaration of modern dominance. A 3-liter inline 6-cylinder, twin-turbocharged, constructed with aerospace-grade aluminium blocks, forged steel crankshafts, and advanced thermal management systems. Power outputs reach beyond 500 horsepower, while reducing fuel consumption and emissions drastically compared to outgoing, naturally aspirated V8 engines. The Hurricane represents the triumph of engineering efficiency over brute force. In Saltillo's advanced assembly complex, the Hurricane engines are born with robotic precision. Turbocharger assemblies are balanced to microscopic tolerances. High-pressure direct fuel injection systems are calibrated electronically. Cylinder walls receive plasma arc coatings thinner than a human hair to reduce friction. These engines are not merely machined, they are calibrated minds before becoming mechanical hearts. The Hurricane arrives in the Ram 1500 range as standard and high-output variants, replacing many V8 offerings outright. Where older trucks rumbled forward on raw displacement, the new inline six surges forward on compressed air violence. The sound changes. Where the V8 growled like thunder, the Hurricane whines like a controlled storm. Less animal, more predator. Test data reveals acceleration gains, towing capability increases, and improved fluid thermal stability under continuous load conditions. Where traditional engines faltered during peak towing stress, the Hurricane thrives under boosted airflow stability. This engine is not nostalgic. It is ruthless. Yet the Hurricane signals more than performance evolution. It defines where Stellantis places its long-term confidence. Not in muscle, in intelligence. While the Hurricane Inline 6 dominates headlines, an even quieter upheaval takes form deeper in the American heartland. The Kokomo engine plant in Indiana undergoes major retooling. Its responsibility, development, and manufacturing of the Hurricane 4 Evolution engine line. This 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder may appear modest compared to the legacy Pentastar and V8 power plants, but its strategic importance cannot be overstated. Designed as the future replacement for the V6, this advanced engine platform carries multi-stage turbo boost control, thermal expansion regulation, predictive combustion mapping, and advanced exhaust treatment integration. It debuts first through Jeep Grand Cherokee upgrades coming in the next production cycles, eventually propagating across Jeep midsize platforms and Ram fleet offerings. The goal is nothing short of total powertrain simplification. Multiple displacements, multiple fuel types, single modular engine philosophy. From assembly simplicity to maintenance cost reductions, the Hurricane 4 Evolution consolidates production while maintaining performance expectations. It is a scaled sibling to the larger Hurricane 6. Both share component engineering philosophies, material science innovations, and integrated electronic architecture. At the newly modernized Dundee engine plant in Michigan, Stellantis introduces small turbo I-4 manufacturing operations, preparing for global export and domestic applications in niche Jeep segments. These American plants are no longer mere engine factories. They are laboratories. Electronic ignition mapping is refined in real time. Lubrication patterns are simulated before physical testing ever begins. Software engineers operate alongside mechanical technicians. The engine of 2025 is not designed on paper, then tested in metal. It is born digitally, refined virtually, proven computationally, and assembled with surgical accuracy. This is the silent American engine revolution. Perhaps nowhere is the philosophical tension more evident than within Jeep. Built on the legend of rugged wilderness exploration, Jeep faced a challenge too few heritage brands survive intact. How does an icon tethered to fossil fuel freedom adapt to an electrified future? The answer became the 4xe program. Plug-in hybrid Wranglers now unite turbocharged 2-liter petrol engines with integrated electric motors coupled through 8-speed automatic transmissions and lithium battery arrays. Torque delivery arrives instantly. No gradual mechanical ramp-up. No engine revolutions building power. Full torque engagement from electric momentum meets turbocharged escalation seconds later. With combined power figures surpassing 370 horsepower and near 500 pound-feet of torque, the 4xe delivers off-road crawling advantages impossible with pure combustion engines. Electric drivetrains allow millimeter-precise throttle control. The ancient art of rock crawling becomes tranquil and silent. Jeep owners traverse sand dunes and stone corridors with only tire shift noise and wind turbulence. Yet hybrid production complexity grows. Power electronics, battery technology, and high-voltage wiring overlay existing engine manufacturing logistics. Components build in multiple states. Final integration occurs primarily at Toledo assembly, before hybrids depart towards consumers. The Wrangler 4xe embodies modern paradox. Technology born of emissions compliance births greater performance than tradition ever offered. Efficiency becomes capability. Silence becomes strength. Even while technology reshapes the spine of American powertrains, one mechanical species refuses extinction. The Hemi V8 still lives. The Wrangler 392 continues V8 production beyond 2025, fueled by fervent buyer demand. Plans exist to extend V8 availability to specialized Gladiator platforms as Halo performance vehicles. Why persist? Because humans are not rational consumers. They purchase emotion. A V8 does not sell horsepower. It sells memory. The memory of open highways in the 1970s, of smoky burnouts, of raw mechanical simplicity. As regulations tighten, such engines become scarcer and more expensive to produce relative to their emissions impacts. Stellantis keeps them not as primary production lines, but as emotional anchors to brand heritage. The V8 is no longer mass production. It is ceremonial manufacturing. And ceremonies fade. Beneath the romance lies mathematics. Stellantis announces more than $13 billion United States dollars committed to American manufacturing investments through the mid to late 2020s. Plants reopen, tooling modernizes, powertrain research expands. These investments serve a singular survival strategy. Produce engines domestically that meet global compliance while preserving national workforce employment. Thousands of machinists, electricians, robotics engineers, metallurgists, and calibration specialists remain on payroll, not because nostalgia demands muscle cars, but because innovation demands intellectual labor. The American engine manufacturing workforce does not shrink, it transforms. The worker of 2025 no longer tightens bolts manually. They oversee robotic torque mapping systems and quality assurance sensors that validate assembly accuracy thousands of times per minute. The future belongs not to brute mechanical assembly. It belongs to system governance. For buyers standing inside showrooms across the United States, these transformations create new realities. The Ram 1500 no longer howls in naturally aspirated rage. Instead, it surges forward in seamless boosted acceleration. Towing stability improves, fuel economy increases, maintenance intervals lengthen. Jeep owners now choose between traditional V6 reliability, turbocharged modern efficiency, hybrid electric instant torque systems, and rare emotional V8 performance icons. Each drivetrain offers a distinct philosophy of ownership. The new age does not replace choice. It multiplies it. Engines once defined brands. Now brands define philosophies. Ram pursues intelligence-based power. Jeep pursues electrified exploration. The old world narrative of displacement superiority evaporates into history as software now shapes performance as profoundly as steel. Cylinder counts matter less than algorithmic throttle mapping. Horsepower figures reflect not compression ratios, but computational combustion efficiency. The mechanical players are no longer alone on stage. Electronic minds now share the engine bay. In 2025, beneath the steel skins of Ram trucks and Jeep Explorers, there beats no single heart. Instead, many hearts exist. The disciplined pulse of the Pentastar V6, the sharpened roar of the Hurricane Inline 6, the whispering torque of hybrid electrification, and the fading thunder of the last American Hemi V8s. This is not the death of American performance. This is its reinvention. Power no longer means brute dominance. Power now means adaptability. Durability no longer means block mass. Durability now means engineering evolution. In this era, what drives forward is not nostalgia, nor raw force, but integration of innovation and identity. On Gear Pulse Insight, we do not merely follow horsepower figures or quarter-mile times. We follow stories. Stories of industries changing direction. Stories of factories reborn. Stories of machines gaining intelligence. We tell the stories beneath the surface metal, because the real engine revolution is not what moves the pistons. It is what moves the future. This has been Gear Pulse Insight, where performance finds its narrative and engineering finds its soul.